Each year, administrators draw up budgets for their school districts. With limited funds, they have to ask themselves difficult questions. What subjects should schools prioritize, and which can they leave by the wayside? In fiscal year 2022, Cambridge Public Schools spent $1 million on visual and performing arts and $72 million on math. This wide disparity shows a clear preference for STEM subjects. But just how important is art? And are we really spending our money in the right places? Audible and the Loop Lab have collaborated on a series exploring how the City of Cambridge allocates resources. We sat down with The Hive, CCTV, and Xavier Montez to discuss art-related resources in academics and jobs.
I believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Randy Watson. We are teaching our students too slow. Each year, 3.2 million STEM and STEAM jobs go unfilled due to no one being qualified for them. And the number's only rising. So I ask, are we teaching our students too slow, or are we teaching them the wrong thing? Jobs demanding skills translated through art will grow 19% by 2030. Thankfully, like Roddy Piper and They Live, Cambridge Community Television is here to save the day and taking art very seriously. CCTV, with award-winning television programming, acclaimed youth programs, is serving the Cambridge area. We talked to Jessica Smizer, Executive Director of CCTV, to find out more.
What is CCTV doing to advance the arts in the field?
So at CCTV, we are really interested in everybody's voice, and we work mainly with people in Cambridge, and we work a lot with teens, but we work with people all the way up through their elder years. So we work with people who are 14, and we work with people who are 94. And the purpose of this is somewhat arts-based, but also about living a good, civically engaged life. And so how CCTV approaches supporting that is we have lots of free classes in filmmaking, screenwriting, storytelling. We work with people who are new to technology, because right now, how you get into videography in particular, and storytelling to some extent with podcasting and videography, you need to have some technical skills. And that can sometimes really stop people from engaging with videography, filmmaking, storytelling, because they feel like they need to have some high level of technical skills. And again, that comes with, there's people out there saying, oh, you can't do that because you don't know how to use a camera, or you can't do that because you don't have the high-end equipment you need. Well, we like to debunk that and say, anyone can tell their story. Anybody can come and learn this. Maybe it'll start a fire in you where you do decide that you're going to be a creative. And the only thing that was keeping you from exploring that was you didn't have access to really good equipment, whether it's sound equipment or video equipment, or you didn't have access to a community who was able to teach you and engage with you around creativity and maybe be inspirational to you. So we provide both those things. We provide the access to the technology, and we provide the community and the education skills so that anyone can enter into a creative field and explore. It's all about curiosity.
Why do you feel arts and STEAM is a skill set that's needed in the job field today?
Well, I think that the reason why the arts and STEAM fields are necessary are, everything is storytelling, everything is creativity, no matter how you slice it. If you're working in the tech field, if you're a doctor, no matter where you are, if you bring creative energy, if you bring creative skills in, listening, in telling stories, in being able to connect with people, I think art is a big connector. I think it just makes you a more well-rounded person and a more well-rounded candidate if you can bring some creativity to any job that you do. And specifically, I think with STEAM, the reason why they added the arts to the STEM was because it actually does require a lot of discernment. Musical composition, artistic composition, videography, filmmaking, all of that actually does require people to bring a high level of skills and a high level of professional training. And I was saying, to someone the other day that mathematicians are often also musicians. Music is actually math. And visual arts is also a very complex field. Sometimes even if you're a sculptor, you're even doing architecture and engineering. So the addition of the A to STEM to make STEAM makes a lot of sense to me, because those skills are highly transferable into engineering and other types of technical skills, but they're also a really good thing for a well-rounded individual to bring something to who you are in the workplace and in the world.
My name is Damon Avant. I'm manager of the Hive here at the Cambridge Public Library.
And my name is Emily St. Germain. I'm manager of STEAM programs at the library.
Okay. Tell us more about what STEAM is.
STEAM is an acronym which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts and Design, and Math. And it is an educational approach to encourage students, to encourage children and young people to gain interest in STEM fields.
Excellent. Do you think creative skills can cross over into the science field?
So I think people often try to make some kind of distinction between creative pursuits and a science field, but I think these are really two sides of the same coin. I'm going to paraphrase the quote here. Imagination is more important than knowledge, because knowledge is the limit of what we know now and what we have discovered now, versus imagination encompasses everything that we can discover. This is a bad interpretation of Einstein's quote. So his point is that science is really an extension of creativity. Creativity is at its root. So these are not two different things, and I think of science more as the process or the discipline, just like dance is a discipline of creativity. Painting is a discipline of creativity. Science, engineering is a discipline of creativity.
Yeah, definitely. Dave said that really well. I think that, we try to put these disciplines in boxes, but they don't really exist that way in the real world. You can't say that a scientist isn't being creative, or that someone in a creative field isn't using things like practices of science, for example, observation and experimentation and investigating. They really meld together.
So how would you guys define what a creative is?
Well, I think if you're a human being, you are creative. I think it is one of those basic human currencies. Just like a baby learns how to sing before they learn how to talk, because they hear tones in music. They may not be able to sing in a way that we recognize as song, but their utterance of sound is something that's inherent to them. I think that everyone is born as a human being with a creative potential. Now, I think maybe your question gets to the crux of, do we consider ourselves officially creative at a certain point in our lives? And I think that's the wrong way to characterize it. I think it is not a profession strictly. Creativity. Everyone is a creative on a spectrum of from just basic day-to-day thinking of how to solve problems to someone who executes that as a form of their livelihood. But everyone is creative to some degree.
65% of children currently in primary school will end up working jobs that do not exist yet. Unless we look at art differently and think STEAM, not just STEM, it's only going to worsen, with STEAM being a rapidly growing employment landscape. We sat down with Xavier Montes, an apprentice of the Loop Lab, to see a current creative's point of view in the arts.
How do you define yourself as a creative?
The GOAT. I Currently, I define myself as an artist or creative in training, being part of the Loop Lab. They've been providing me with a lot of creative knowledge about like how to use like certain programs, different techniques to use in my work, especially with like the photography, filmmaking side of things. I've been picking up a lot of new, I guess, just new knowledge about stuff that I already pursue like on my own. I have like my own YouTube channel where I do my own thing. I make my own like short films and things at the Loop Lab. They provided me with a lot of like different like techniques and editing knowledge just to make my work seem more professional. So that hopefully at some point in the future I get to be making like big budget films and potentially have them in theaters and all that. So I'm still in like a training, self-teaching type of stage at the moment. But I'm still doing it. I'm still doing things on my own. Help from the Loop Lab. I got help actually from a whole lot of places. It's crazy how many connections I got. Yeah.
Interesting. How long have you been doing, like you said, those short films? Like, when did you start? How old were you?
I started. It's hard to say. I can't pinpoint an exact day. I was young though. I had an old channel of mine I accidentally deleted. Had a lot more. It's around like maybe like the end of like elementary. I started like a YouTube channel for myself and started just teaching myself how to edit on like free software on my phone. Just making like just random comedy skits like to myself, playing all the characters. Sometimes I got my friends involved, and with my channel right now, I'm doing kind of the same thing. Not as frequently as I was before, but every new thing I feel like I put out, I'm improving, like technical wise. The horror short film I did for this class, I think is my best work so by far.
I did have the privilege of seeing it. Great stuff, by the way.
Thank you. It's amazing. But I've always loved creating. Always just like making things, music, films. I just had ideas I wanted to get out there, and so it was a natural thing for me. I was like, I want to work in a field where I get to share my ideas the way I want to share them, and ain't nobody can tell me anything about it. So that's the dream. That's the dream.
That's a universal goal we all have. I love it.
Right.
I love it. Any words of encouragement for the viewers of this clip?
You can't do it. You shouldn't believe in yourself. Your parents are right. And no, I mean, keep pushing forward. There's going to be people that like tell you like your work isn't good enough, or you should have done it this way, that way. And it's important to listen to those criticisms, but it's also way more important that you enjoy the work that you do over others. Because if you're not enjoying the work you put out, and if you can't go back and find some sort of enjoyment or learn from anything, there's no purpose in doing it in the first place.
With an evolving landscape across all professions, the changing job market is bound to impact arts. For this transition to be executed successfully, we need to think beyond the boundaries of STEM. Organizations such as the Hive and CCTV are providing education related to arts and media to combat the incoming knowledge gap. we need to provide more resources to these organizations so that people who are trying to pick up art as a profession have a place to start.